So for today's episode, what we're covering is starting an LLC if you choose to go this route. Some of the reasons to start an LLC as a book author would be to sort of help you with liability protection, help you with a financial separation between your income that you would receive separate from your books versus the income you might receive specifically from your books. It might also help you with some professional credibility. I know that oftentimes when I'm reaching out to different publishers, book awards, the like, they sort of generally prefer you to reach out as a publisher rather than as an independent author. You get a little bit more credence this way. It's definitely especially important if you choose to sort of sell books on your own, if you choose to sort of participate or like generate events, what have you. But it is sort of, I would say, a good way also for you to have some brand ownership, some continuity. Anyways, I do think that the sort of collection of multiple income streams under the sort of roof of LLC, you can sort of handle your Substack, you can handle speaking fees, merchandising, limited editions, art print, events, workshops, foreign rights, audio rights, movie rights. The work should be all sort of cohesive underneath that one legal umbrella. So that's sort of helpful for you to have some powerful growth. Now, I'm not interested in too much of the I would say sort of like technical management or tactical sort of components of an LLC, if at all possible. And as a result, especially also because I didn't want to put my personal address on an LLC, I actually chose to go the route of a registered agent. So a registered agent is effectively a role for every LLC. It's essentially an official person or company which receives your legal or government mail on your behalf. It provides you with a physical street address. It provides you with sort of a place to receive and send from. Effectively, it is optimal. Again, cost notwithstanding. If you're price agnostic, do this. If you're not, weigh what you can and cannot do. But if you essentially are your own registered agent, meaning you choose not to go with one of these companies. I think the one that I went with was Northwest Registered Agent. There's another one called Harbor Compliance that I've heard good things about. This isn't like state specific as far as I'm aware. You can start an LLC from here either way. But essentially, most people will use a professional service because if you don't use this, your home address becomes public. Definitely not chill for people like me who deeply value privacy. It means that you should be available from 9 to 5 for every weekday. It means that you could presumably be served legal papers in front of customers, family, or neighbors. You could miss a delivery, which would mean that you might lose a lawsuit by default. It is absolutely highly suggested to go the professional route. These people handle everything for you. There was a time I got a receipt saying something like, hey, we resubmitted your filings for this year, and I was like, oh goody, what filings? So just as a note, I think that this is super valuable. You go to Northwest Agent if this is the one you choose. I'm not, this is the one that I chose primarily for their customer service reviews, what have you. I generally like to go with boutique firms where possible because I think it gives you a little bit more hand-holding, but also stay away from those big companies for various reasons. We're not going to get into that today. So anywho, so for Northwest Agent, and I believe this is probably a similar workflow no matter where you go, you'd click Start an LLC. It gives you some control over sort of where, what, when. I'm gonna click, let's just go with an M. Minnesota. Different LLCs will cost different amounts of money in different states. You have to choose your business name. And I think this is all LLC, it's just what you choose. I am one for brevity, so I would choose this. I think maybe if I said, razor blade here, just as a joke, it would require essentially my name, my information, next, organizer. This is the account information that you would put in there. Be sure that this is, I think you should look and see whether you can be, if you don't have to use your legal name, but the thing is that if you don't use your legal name, there may be some implications down the road, so I would highly suggest that you use your legal name here, because essentially what I had happen to me was the registered agent will create your LLC for you and then transition that LLC from their name to yours, and that is important. And you can also ask for an EIN number. An EIN number is a tax identifying number. You'll need that for tax purposes. Anything that you spend or pay for in the service, maybe not anything, but most things that you spend or pay for in the service of your business is tax deductible. As far as I recall, it was something around like 1 out of every $3 can be sort of returned via taxes. I'm not sure if that's generally applicable or not. Somebody told me that at one point, so don't quote me on that, please. But I would rather spend money on my business more so than my taxes, if possible. Not that I don't agree with taxes. Totally different story. But I think this is an important step to just sort of gaining credibility. It is not a required step. This is just, in my mind, best practice, especially if you choose to create your own publishing house in order to house all of your titles. You may also just choose to create an LLC under your author name as well. But this is how I went about doing it. And remember, don't forget, do add the EIN number, because that's how you get these tax deductions. That's how you make it so that the IRS recognizes you as a business and you can apply tax deductible components to your output. Alright, so we are in this creation, and you're like, oh no, what do I do now? Makes perfect sense, right? So you just click on the business, active services, business details, great, excellent, back to home. So now I'm in my home, and I want to add an active service. And what's my goal today? I'm going to shop for my LLC that I identified, continue, and it's going to charge me $39 to have them. Let's look at this and what that means. And there's also a Minnesota fee. So each Minnesota state fee will be different. And you can just keep checking sort of what you want. So yes, I want, for instance, I don't want that. I already have an email. You can use that if you'd like. You can choose a change filing. I don't need that. I don't need a resignation filing. I don't need blanket service, nor do I need that. I just want this, which is just the banking service, or I'm sorry, just the business formation. All under one roof. Alright, so your filing options, I just need this guy. So it's already added, so my total is 194, goody goody. I don't need any of these things, so I'm not going to select them. I do want a tax number, and I am going to add it. It should be free. but I just like things handled for me, so I'm just gonna choose this. You do not have to. Nope, don't need that. S Corp, I think there's things around this that might be valuable, but I think you should stick to LLC if you're just getting started. And ignore this, ignore this. I don't want foreign registration. Couldn't even tell you what this is. I'm sure somebody intelligent could. I don't need any of these things. I think official state copy. I think you'd only really need this in case the bank required it, or if you were going to do foreign registration for later. But again, there's probably various reasons why this is necessary. Dissolve my business. If you were going to do that, there you go. Already did a trademark. Don't need any of these things. But these are just the offerings that are available to you if you choose. For me, the only thing that I'm going to go forward with is that tax identification number, which is called an EIN number, and that can be found a little further up. And as I am one of these guys, I'm going to go here. I'm going to review that cart. Form a company. Yay, discounts. It's incorporating its own renewal service. Fantastic. I want that. Build only when due. And then I have all of these things, so I don't need them. So then I'm just going to check out. And here is where I will just pay, essentially. And so that's the total for these services. And to be honest, for me, it has been pretty fruitful, because it's just something I don't have to think about, which I think is almost invaluable. And that sort of renewal service is super important when you start thinking about it. So just a note, this is how I went about creating my LLC. And shortly thereafter, I received some paperwork, which was a validation of my filing. It had a transfer of ownership between Northwest Registered Agent to me as owner. They have to create it themselves in order for me to... they had to create it themselves in order for me to... They had to create it themselves in order for me to have that sort of separation, but they do have a transfer of ownership in that documentation. So just a note, that's perfectly normal, and they're very responsive, so if you have any further questions, you can probably reach out to them. Thanks, guys. Onwards and upwards.